The culture war stops for no man. Black Panther 3 hasn't even started filming yet, and somehow we're already arguing over passports, blackness. Why isn't the sci-fi fantasy African movie more American?
Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
Freedom and freedom.
Marvel cast David Jonsson as the new T'Challa, T'Challa's son, and now part of the internet are acting like Wakanda just got colonized. For some, he's not the right choice for the character, for the role, but for others, if you've been seeing people throw around the term FBA or fundamental Black American apparently, here's the quick version. It's a movement that argues descendants of enslaved Black Americans have a unique culture and history that deserves to be recognized separately from the wider Black diaspora. Fair enough. But where things get messy and weird is when that idea turns into separating Black Americans from everyone else, and somehow Black Panther and David Jonsson, being a British actor, have become the battlefield for that argument, stating that Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan are the real reason for the success of the Black Panther series, and that it is actually an American story and this British actor will ruin everything. Personally, I don't think that's what this franchise was ever about, but hey, this is an interesting opinion, so let's explore both arguments. So let's be fair first, the people saying Black Panther worked because of Black Americans aren't completely wrong. Ryan Coogler didn't just make another Marvel movie, he brought his own experience into it. Killmonger isn't just the villain, he's a kid from Oakland asking what happens when Black people are disconnected from their roots. That relationship between Oakland, Killmonger, and Wakanda is part of the emotional beats. And then you have the American actor Chadwick Boseman. The man didn't just play a king, he carried himself like one. That confidence, that dignity, that strength. He really was T'Challa. And yes, Black Americans absolutely connected with these themes. Actually, North America made up roughly 700 million of the movie's 1.3 billion box office hit. That's a huge reason why the film became the phenomenon it did. But that's not the whole story. Because if we're gonna give credit, we gotta give everybody credit, right? The costumes inspired by cultures from across Africa, the production design, African architecture, the music, American hip hop mixed with African sounds. Ludwig literally traveled across Africa studying local musicians before writing the score. The cast, American actors, British actors, Caribbean actors, actors with African heritage, everyone contributed. Even the African box office numbers, which no doubt they were much smaller, but that's because there simply aren't enough theaters across much of the continent to really be able to enjoy the film that they want to. So it doesn't tell the whole story. South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, people did show up. It's just limited where they can. The market itself just isn't as developed yet. So it's strange to me when people try to shrink Black Panther down into belonging to one group that these FBA types are coming up with out of nowhere. I've never even heard that term until like this week. To claim this when there's clear contribution from everybody. Because if one group alone made it successful, how do you explain literally everything else going on? Now let's talk about David Jonsson. I've seen him exactly in 2 movies. Alien Romulus, which I think he absolutely crushed it, and then I watched The Long Walk last week. Again, fantastic. I think the dude can act. So here's my question. If David Jonsson gives us an amazing T'Challa, does 1, him being British suddenly make the performance fake? Does it make him less black? And 2, those that are not part of the FBA train but still don't think he's a good choice, if he does fantastic, will you praise him when the time comes or still hate like the Odyssey hate tubers that are still happening? Because we've been here before, right? Like the conversation is very much like the Odyssey discourse that is still happening right now. People aren't asking whether the actors were good, whether the story reigns true at the end in its core. They were asking, why aren't they white enough? Meanwhile, Christopher Nolan's out here just making a great, fantastic movie that you should see if you haven't already. And audiences care about the performance, not the passport or the skin tone. Ultimately, they just want to be entertained, especially in fantasy. The problem that was happening in the past was that the story, the narrative, was always written and done by people who weren't black. So the narrative was never controlled by the black people, and then there were never any mainstream movies at the time to counteract whatever the whitewashing version of us they made. As much as I wish they would instead make more black films instead of putting us in white stories like The Odyssey, there's a grave distinction between what happened with The Odyssey, or what's happening with The Odyssey, and what has happened in the past with whitewashed films. I can get into that, but maybe that should be saved for a different video. For now, let's get back to the main topic. Let's take a look at someone like Daniel Kaluuya. Would anyone seriously say someone like Daniel Kaluuya wasn't believable in Judas and the Black Messiah because he's British? The man was playing a pivotal character to the civil rights movement. It's almost a little sickening that these FBA types go to this fantasy movie instead of real historical biopics to even make their claim in the first place. Same with those taking cheap shots at David Jonsson. I come back to the Christopher Nolan choice in actors. They all did a fantastic job in the thing that they were chosen to do. Should we not trust the director to deliver again after delivering 2 Black Panther films that were wildly successful and recently coming out with Sinners that people love? Great acting usually wins, great direction usually wins. And one of Ryan Coogler's greatest strengths has always been casting actors who disappear into the role. Could David Jonsson fail? Absolutely. Every actor can. But 1, we shouldn't be rooting for that, and 2, trust the artist to do what they've been known to do, which is why they have the job doing it in the first place. I think this is the real conversation. For many Black Americans, Wakanda represents something slavery interrupted, a connection back to Africa, a people whose history wasn't stolen, a version of what could have been the potential. That's powerful. And for many Africans, Wakanda represents something a little bit different. African excellence, technology, possibility, a future where Africa isn't constantly shown through poverty or conflict, which is very powerful too. And then you've got people across the Caribbean. We also looked at Wakanda and said, I see myself, I see everything we strive to become. So if millions of Black people around the world found something meaningful in Wakanda, in Black Panther, why are we suddenly fighting over who owns it? Why are we hating on a young up-and-coming superstar given a great opportunity to represent across the world? That pressure is already immense without his own people taking him down. And I do mean his own people across the diaspora. And for the FBA types, if you actually watch the first movie, the ending isn't about isolation. It's the complete opposite. It's about opening up, sharing knowledge, building bridges, not building borders. Maybe that's the irony here. A movie that argues for connecting with the world has become a reason for people to separate themselves from it? Weird. Now, all that being said, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe you think T'Challa should always be played by a Black American. Maybe you really think that David Jonsson is just going to completely ruin the franchise. Or maybe you think it shouldn't matter where the actor comes from as long as they respect the character and deliver the performance. No matter which way you're coming from, I'm more interested in whether David Jonsson gives us a great T'Challa than where his passport says he's born or whatever or anything like that, or the fact that he wasn't even my first choice either, because he wasn't. But choices have been made, and I'm here for it. But hey, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And that's it for the video. If you enjoyed, you'll love the next one coming up. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, and share this out.